it's fun when a popular guy on a team and a franchise like Big Dom on Philadelphia. I don't know him. I've never met him. But, obviously Burkhardt and Greg Olson were chuckling about him.
Yeah.
And the moment found him. I mean, he's on the sideline as the head of security. You could see him with his walkie-talkie and his earpiece in his ear. And he's standing there. And the moment just fell right in front of him, and he's breaking players up. I'm sure that was his general sense of what to do in the moment. But then when Greenlaw brushes him with his hand, because you could see Dom was telling him that Greenlaw's takedown of Devontae Smith was a piece of poop that is normally associated with a bull.
Sure.
You could read his lips.
Sure.
And then when Greenlaw brushed him, then it's just like, why are you in the middle of this? Remember Sam Alosi? He did something far worse. Remember the strength coach of the Jets?
Yeah.
He got fined $25,000 and suspended for the rest of the season. Well, he did something like he got in the way of an actual punt return.
Right.
This is not what Dom did, but I believe the Eagles will hear from the league on this front. And
weird moment.
It certainly was.
Yeah, weird moment.
It certainly was. And then he getting it's just weird to see in front of 30 million people, a head of security get the gate, strolling off.
And then the fans just going ape because they love the guy.
They must know. I know. I'm sure he's popular in Philadelphia, and and I'm sure the last thing ahead of it's kind of like an offensive lineman. You're there for protection, and you don't want to be called by name.
Yeah. It's better if nobody knows.
It's right, and so I'm sure he wasn't terribly happy with him being himself in all that mix. Yeah. But I bet the Eagles will hear about that from the NFL, and the league ejected him.
Is that common? Do you know for the team security head to be
standing next to the coach
on the sideline or anything?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's weird on an NFL sideline. They get really.
There's a lot of people down there.
But they're very protective as to who's there and who's not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've been Mooch and I and the rest of us have been kicked off of sidelines because we're technically not essential to be there. I mean, this was on a Thursday night we had our credentials, and we need to be there to be out there right before halftime and right before the end of the game. So if we're standing there in the middle of the first quarter, we did that a lot of times just because we want to see the game. We don't want to be sitting, you fly all the way out to a game.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit in a green room underneath the stadium if you can see it in person. But we're not essential employees to be on the sideline.
I remember one time when Arizona, we were with you, we got kicked out. We were there for like half the first quarter.
Right.
And then they're like, well, what does your credential say? You got to go.
On a Thursday night, in Seattle, it was Seattle and the Rams. On a Thursday night, it was the game after Jeff Fisher had just got fired. They started Jared Goff in that game. And Bones Fossil, the longtime special teams coordinator, I believe he's he's Dallas's right now? Right.
Yep.
And so he was the interim head coach for the Rams. Yep. And we came out, and we're ready to do halftime. And we saw, may he rest in peace, Jim Fossil, his dad, livid because he was kicked out of the coaching area box by members of the NFL who they see who's on the sideline. And if they see and you're not essential, somebody will come up and say, you are out. They told Jim he was not allowed in the coaches area. And I remember he was livid. I remember he looked at me and Mooch and he said, football is family, my ass. And he used another word in there that I can't say. So I don't know the answer to that. I'm assuming the head of security is allowed to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Murphy.
But what's he supposed to do? Like, not his initial reaction is to
protect the head coach.
Or break people up.
Get people
right by
away.
the coach.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're Dre Greenlaw in the middle of the most important football game of the year and you're seeing a guy you have no idea who he is tell you what you just did is BS, I guess you take a swipe.
I mean,
And that's what I was thinking when I'm watching that. And when they ejected Greenlaw, I immediately thought they got to eject the head of security too. And they did. You'll never see that again, pal. I'll tell you that.
Big Dom.
Big Dom.
Big
getting
Dom.
escorted off the field.
I'm sure
Dom.
he would like this segment to end right now. He doesn't want to.
Well, he wasn't leaving at first, right? And then they finally got
I'm sure after a while he's like, oh, really? He might have thought somebody was telling him the Eagles just pulling his leg. Really? I'm ejected too? I'm getting the gate?
I would be like Kevin getting ejected from that mountain.
Now, sometimes, players take off their helmet. I thought, and coaches take off their headset. Is he taking off his walkie-talkie, his earpiece, and handing it to the next?
Is Big Dom the get-back coach?
Next security guy up.
Of the Eagles? Get back?
Next security man up.
Next security man up.
He's got to hand his walkie-talkie over. That's a big
belt,
job.
I'm sure it is.
I knew the head Giants guy, Murph. I mean, he was like, that's a crazy job. He was like...
Not my Murph.
But
who, by the way, is over the moon about Jordan Love at present.
Because you're watching the head coach, and to get involved like that, it's like,
your first initial thing is, but he, he shouldn't be in the face of Dre Greenlaw telling him that's BS.
Even though it was, I mean.
Well, he suplexed him and he got 15 yards.
Pile drive the dude.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
Poor Devontae Smith weighs like 150 pounds. He might break him.
Whose job is it to tell? I'm sure, on the other side of the line of scrimmage, on the other side of the field, Kyle Shanahan's there. Oh, he suplexed him. That's the 15 yards. Somebody comes up and says he's been ejected. He goes for throwing him down on the ground. No, he took a swipe at the head of security on the other side. Like, what?
And Kyle's like, who? Big Dom?
Must know. I'm sure he knows.
Yeah, is Big Dom like Turtle? Just like everybody knows him? Everybody knows who he is?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.